The most unsettling outdoor encounters happen when you realize you aren't just an observer, you're a target. From the terrifying crack of a gunshot fired inches from your tent to the sight of human footprints leading toward your hidden campsite. These moments redefine isolation. When your intuition screams that something is wrong, would you trust your gut and flee, or stay to find out the truth? On December 17, 2019, YouTuber Aaron from the hunting public went through what could be one of the most alarming hunting incidents ever recorded on camera. He was out deer hunting on opening day in Iowa. After recently buying a brand new scope, he was excited to start the season on a good note. That excitement disappeared fast.
It was opening morning here, and I was sliding out to that point that I saw last night out here. Spotted some deer out in front of me in the dark. Then they all took off running, and I think there was 9 hunters that walked through. I got a guy right now another guy just walked all the way across the bottom here in front of me, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and go on back a little bit further. Finally got set up over here away from some of those hunters. I still got a guy back here behind me. Anyway, I saw a whole pile of hunters back there. Ridge that I talked about last night when I was in here scouting. I saw all those deer walk right in front of this thing. There was an army of them that came in there this morning, though. Gun season's when you're gonna see the most amount of people in the woods for sure. There was like 10 or 12 of them that came in all at once. So I just decided to come all the way around the ridge. So now the big ridge is in between me and them. I think I'm past most of them now to where I might have a chance. I can see a long way out here across in front.
After heading toward a spot he had checked the evening before, he reached the area and noticed several deer in front of him in the dark. Within seconds, the deer suddenly ran off. Moments later, he understood why. About 9 hunters walked straight through the same section of woods. One stood roughly 60 yards away, while another moved across the lower ground ahead of him. Deciding to ease the pressure, Aaron continued along the ridge to put more distance between them. He eventually set up again, though another hunter was still somewhere behind him. From this new position, he had a clear view across the land as daylight slowly came in. It quickly became obvious something was off. Close to a dozen hunters were gathered in the same area. When that many people chase the same deer during gun season, the danger increases quickly.
Boy just shot one over there. Something must have run back through it behind me because there was like 6, 7 shots just now after that turkey went through. 2 does. They're gonna be in trouble if they keep going that way. He's pointing his gun right to the right of me, where those deer are at. He must be able to see them. This guy's pointing his gun straight over here behind me at those deer. Here they come. They're coming across to him. Jiminy Christmas, don't shoot. I'm right here. He's pointing that gun right at me. Jeez. As you could tell in the camera though, he's pointing the gun straight at me. He watched me walk up this edge this morning. I was looking at him through binoculars and he was staring over here. And I could hear slugs or bullets or whatever ricocheting down through there. Got to be safe in gun season. You have to be careful. After all these guys came in here, oh man, that was scary. Those deer were directly in between him and I, and he had his gun pointed straight at him. And that bullet to ricochet, it's gonna hit the side of this hill that I'm sitting on. There are just too many people right here, too close together. When deer run amongst them, that's what happens. That is exactly why you wear orange in gun season. There's a buck right here in front of me. Hang on, nice buck.
Shots echoed after movement passed through the woods, followed by several more gunshots, one after another. deer began running between positions, placing multiple hunters dangerously close to each other. At one point, another hunter aimed directly across Aaron's position. The footage shows the firearm pointed straight toward him, while he remained exposed wearing orange. He had already seen the man earlier through binoculars. Moments later, a shot went off. Aaron was clearly shaken. One of the most basic rules in hunting is knowing what is beyond your target. With so many hunters packed into a tight area, the margin for error becomes extremely small. If that bullet had traveled just slightly differently, the result could have been much worse. Situations like this show how quickly pressure and overcrowding can raise the level of risk in the woods. Would you have stayed there or left as soon as you saw how many hunters were around? Zeb is an experienced outdoorsman with many years of hunting behind him, but what took place on this trip was something he could never have completely expected. The footage was later uploaded to the YouTube channel Zeb Cox on December 2nd, 2024. The day after Thanksgiving, with several fresh inches of snow covering the ground, Zeb decided to use the conditions to head out and look for new deer tracks.
It's Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. I'm up here in Vermont. Just got 6 inches of fresh snow. Hopefully pick up a fresh track. It's 7 o'clock right now, so I got all day. It's been about a half hour so far, and I just came to a barnyard. Looks like they've been feeding in here after it snowed. There's no snow on any of the tracks. So I'm gonna work my way through here and try to sort this out and find the tracks leaving out of here, get on them and track them down.
The snow was deep and tiring to walk through, but the trail stayed clear, leading him farther into the dense forest. As he moved through heavy snow and tall trees, the atmosphere grew more uneasy. Deer had moved through the area, and after following the trail for nearly half a mile, he finally spotted the animal he had been tracking. With his rifle ready, he fired. That's when everything shifted. Without any warning, the wounded deer suddenly charged straight at him from the trees. Visibility was low, the moment was sudden, and there was almost no time to react. Relying only on instinct, Zeb stepped aside at the last second as the deer rushed past and disappeared deeper into the woods, where it was later taken down. What was supposed to be a routine hunt quickly turned into a moment that left him shaken, a clear reminder of how quickly things can change in the wild. Would you have been prepared for something like that? The clip comes from Urban Rats, a UK-based urban exploration and stealth camping channel focused on unusual overnight locations and cities. It is February 9th, 2025 in Bolton, United Kingdom, beneath a newly installed billboard near an abandoned aquarium and an active railway viaduct. What seems like a hidden quiet spot at first quickly becomes something far less predictable.
Behind me is the wall, and the rat is going to be climbing up. Guys, I climbed up, I've hit the rail, and nadded myself, honestly to God.
Paul begins the adventure by climbing a roughly 10-foot wall to reach the area beneath the billboard, carrying a heavy backpack, as he carefully moves through gaps in the railing and along narrow footing. After reaching the sheltered space behind the sign, he sets up a DD tarp to block the wind and pitches a small one-person tent. The environment is far from calm, with temperatures hovering near freezing, and the surrounding area filled with abandoned industrial buildings, scrapyards, and groups of travelers with small fires nearby.
He's over there burning the fire up, see? He's got a fire burning. Ambulance over there.
Later in the night, movement below the billboard suddenly increases the tension. A stranger walks through the area carrying a GTO blaster, playing music and lighting small fires beneath the structure. The individual passes close enough that Paul fears his hiding spot could be exposed, turning the situation into a high-risk camping encounter. At the same time, travelers nearby continue tending fires and talking, filling the otherwise dark industrial area with noise that makes staying hidden much more difficult.
Everybody, wow, what a rough sleep that was last night. Woke up a few times of people shouting and swearing, and it sounded like they were right outside my tent. Just remembered, with no lighter, we're just gonna get ourselves up and get ourselves out of here. And then I'll have a look what's going on outside that door.
As the night continues, the temperature drops even further, and frost begins forming on exposed metal bars and surfaces. Paul stays alert inside the tent, listening for movement below while dealing with the cold conditions. Despite the harsh environment and missing equipment, he manages to maintain a low profile and avoid drawing attention. By morning, frost covers much of the surrounding structure. Paul quietly packs up the camp and carefully climbs back down from the billboard, ending another challenging overnight stay in the middle of the city. If you were in this situation, would you stay through the night or leave before someone notices? The unsettling video comes from Wandering, where a UK-based adventure and stealth camping channel exploring remote countryside, scenic moorlands, and hidden car camping locations. It is May 12, 2023, in Rosedale, North York Moors, England. The host arrives after navigating narrow roads through dense fog across the North Yorkshire moors. The landscape is damp, misty, and quiet, with limited visibility across the rolling hills. As they explore small paths through the moorland, distant wildlife sounds echo through the fog. Along the way, they notice unusual historical remnants scattered across the terrain and spot a ringouzel, a bird commonly found in upland areas.
Silent, and the fog. I almost feel like you're my only comfort at the minute. There's no one else here. Oh mate, you'd have no chance, would you? You'd be super fast. You'd be doing 60 Pumo just as far as you can over a ridge trying to get away. You'd never make it. I don't want to think about it. My mate asked me the other day about Charlie, my dog.
Walking deeper into the moor alone, the host notes how quiet and isolated the area feels. With the fog reducing visibility, even small sounds such as wind moving through grass or distant movement become amplified. The environment creates a subtle sense of being watched despite the openness of the landscape.
Some cage all of a sudden in the middle of nowhere. What are you putting in there? A wildebeest or something? Maybe that's where they aired up the werewolves. Grow them in a lab and then just have them out here. I think I've watched way too many horror movies, to be honest. Well, hang on a minute. We've got a plaque. What the heck? I can't see what I'm looking at. I don't know. This must be like some mad cultural spot of history or something. And it is. Da, 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 da. Bloody hell. I don't know what type of bird they are, but they're making an amazing noise. Anyway, the sheriff's pit. Oh, hang on a minute. It could be one of these. A ring. I've just seen a ring oozy. What?
Nearby, a small structure with a plaque explaining its background stands out in the middle of the moors. Its presence feels unusual, surrounded by fog and open terrain, adding curiosity and a slight sense of unease to the hike.
Honestly, I can't believe how heavy it is. It's such a good thing. I'd have still been outside now. I'd have been absolutely drenched. It is making this area a little bit more eerie though. I've just got like a road that goes into the mist and cloud, and then now it's all raining. I can't see down into the... I'm hoping it's going to get quiet at night, which I think it will, but honestly, I've only been here about 45 minutes. I've already had one car full of clowns pull up. But yeah, some young ones, I don't know what was up with them. Their head off. Bit random, but yeah, so I hope it's not off for a through for like...
Eventually, reaching the chosen car camping spot, the host begins settling in for the night. Wind and rain move across the moor, while the phone signal fluctuates in and out. Strange noises from the weather and occasional distant traffic travel across the open hills, reinforcing how exposed and isolated the location is. Despite the conditions, the host prepares a simple outdoor meal and settles in for the evening. In a place like this, fog can distort sound, and distance making it difficult to tell what is real or how close something actually is. With weak signal and changing weather, even small mistakes can turn serious quickly. If you were in a camping encounter like this, would you trust your senses or leave before they fail you? Rachel and Tommy is a US-based outdoor exploration duo documenting remote wilderness adventures, unusual wildlife activity, and occasional cryptid investigations. It is September 3rd, 2023, in a high-elevation forest in New Mexico, United States. Rachel and Tommy begin settling into the forest as evening approaches. The cool mountain air and quiet wilderness initially create a peaceful setting, but the pair quickly notice something unusual. The forest is almost completely silent. Birds, frogs, and other typical wildlife sounds are missing. Recognizing how unusual the stillness feels, they keep their cameras and phones ready, while carefully observing the surrounding woods.
It sounded howly. I've heard that Bigfoot, Sasquatch. I kind of sometimes wish they weren't.
No.
It's just deathly silent out here.
A distant howl suddenly echoes through the forest. The sound is far away, but clearly audible, and Rachel and Tommy consider what might have caused it, briefly questioning whether it could be a large animal or something more unusual.
Something out there, because that don't normally happen. It's eerily quiet.
Yeah. Let's just be quiet and listen for a second.
As the howl fades, the forest becomes eerily quiet again. Rachel then reports seeing movement somewhere in the nearby trees, though it is too dark and distant to clearly identify. Both investigators aim their cameras toward the area and remain still hoping to capture whatever might be moving through the forest.
That was a howl. It was a long ways off, but that was a howl.
Badger is looking over that way intently.
He does this at marks too.
Later, a strange growling or gurgling noise is heard nearby. The unidentified sound, combined with the unnatural silence of the forest, makes the night feel far more tense than previous visits. Although no clear figure or animal is seen, the investigation leaves Rachel and Tommy deeply unsettled. The unusual silence, distant howls, and unexplained noises create one of the eeriest camping encounters they have experienced in the area. After documenting the activity for a while longer, they decide to end the session early, noting that the forest has never behaved this strangely during any of their previous trips. When a forest suddenly goes silent, it can sometimes signal that something nearby is affecting everything around it. If you were in a camping encounter like this and heard sounds you couldn't explain, would you stay and keep watching or leave before things get closer? He dropped flat to the ground to avoid being shot, and in that moment he realized the decision he made earlier had led him straight into this danger. Creepy Travels is an outdoor exploration and mystery-focused YouTube channel documenting solo trips into remote forests, abandoned cabins, caves, and isolated wilderness areas across the United States, particularly in the Appalachian region. It is February 11th, 2026 in the Appalachian Woodland region, United States, near remote hiking trails. While hiking through the forest toward an abandoned cabin, the explorer begins to notice the smell of smoke drifting through the trees. The scent continues for nearly 10 minutes as he moves deeper into the forest. Because fires and camping are usually restricted in this area, the smell immediately raises concern, setting up a tense camping encounter. After climbing out of a ravine and approaching the cabin, the source becomes clear. A fire is actively burning beside the structure, suggesting someone else is already using the location.
A fire, a glow, and I'm walking up that hill, walking up from the ravine, And I get up and I see the light glaring right off of him. Saw him real good. I shined my light right toward him. I wasn't going to shine it in his face to be rude, so I shined it more down in the center section. And he was like deer in headlights. It was like he didn't know what to do. And he just jumped up. He took off this way. And he went right by that tree right there. And he took off, I guess, that trail that we walked out.
After confirming the stranger has left the area, the explorer cautiously approaches the cabin and fire pit. The fire is still burning and clearly appears to have been maintained recently. Nearby objects appear intentionally placed, and a small solar light seems to have been positioned in a way that hides the fire's glow from nearby trails.
Screech, yell, didn't sound like a human. I have never heard an animal make that type of screech. Then it kind of had like a chuckle after. I don't know what that was, but that was closer to the car, not here. I was concerned about that all the way here. Apparently I'm finding out more about this place than I thought. Even though I get a weird feeling out here, I love it out here. It's been a couple hours since I've been here. That guy hasn't come back yet.
Several hours later, a sudden gunshot echoes through the woods close to his position. The sound is loud enough that the explorer immediately drops to the ground, initially believing the shot may have been directed toward him.
They could have killed. I just heard leaves. They could have killed me. I've got these lights pointed right on me. I believe they're trying to get me to go. The fire, wood's all burnt down.
While scanning the area with his lights, the explorer becomes increasingly uneasy. He realizes that the bright lights illuminating his campsite make him clearly visible in the darkness. If someone nearby intended harm, he would be an easy target. What begins as a simple exploration of an abandoned cabin quickly turns into a tense wilderness encounter. Concerned that someone armed could still be nearby, he decides it is too dangerous to remain at the site and packs up his equipment, leaving the forest earlier than planned. Sometimes a camping encounter starts with small signs like smoke or light, but those details can point to something much bigger nearby. If you were in a situation like this camping encounter, would you stay and investigate or leave before you're seen? The following disturbing video is from Jamie Does Wild Bike Packing, a UK outdoor adventure channel centered on solo bike packing, wild camping, and overnight journeys. It is March 11th, 2026 in Norfolk, England, United Kingdom. Jamie travels through rural Norfolk, searching for a quiet and permitted place to stay for the night. His first planned location near a scenic viewpoint is rejected due to restrictions on overnight parking, forcing him to adjust his plan and head toward a more isolated area near Pedder's Way, surrounded by woodland.
I don't know what the hell's going on tonight. I can hear all sorts of weird singing going on in those woods.
While outside the van, something unusual breaks the silence. Soft singing or chanting can be heard coming from the nearby woods. At first, Jamie reacts casually, but the sound feels out of place in such a remote setting.
Goodness going on under there. That's what we talk about tonight. Bugger that.
Curiosity briefly takes over as he considers entering the woods to locate the source, but he hesitates, unsure if it is safe. As he steps away from the van, the isolation and atmosphere quickly shift his mindset, leading him to abandon the idea and return to the safety of his vehicle.
Just got out of the van to have a piss. What the f is that? There's a light in the bloody woods now. I'll tell you what, fuck this.
What begins as a normal solo camping trip gradually turns into an unsettling camping encounter. In the end, Jamie chooses caution over curiosity, staying inside his van and avoiding further risk. The night ends without answers, but with the strong impression that the woods were not as empty as they first appeared. Sometimes, a camping encounter does not show itself directly, it just makes you feel like something is there. If you were in that situation, would you stay inside or step into the dark to find out? Carson Schmidt is a young man who enjoys adventure. He regularly goes snowboarding, hiking, and skiing, sharing everything on his social media. On February 25th, 2026, he uploaded a video that was especially unsettling and showed how much being in the right place at the right time can matter. He was skiing with a friend, and after coming down a slope, he said that for no clear reason, they suddenly stopped. That's when they noticed something unusual.
That's deep. Dude, I just fucking sank. Hey, they good?
Oh shit. Hey. Holy
hey, stop.
Shit.
We got. Oh. You okay? Yeah. Oh. You okay?
Hold on for a second. Oh. Can you get his skis off, dude? Oh. You okay?
Holy fuck.
Can you get his skis off, Carson?
Yeah.
They quickly rushed over to help when all they could see were the tips of a man's skis sticking out of the snow. No one knows how long he had been trapped, but it was clear he would not have lasted much longer. Apparently, he had simply fallen into a deep section of snow, a reminder that it does not take an avalanche to become buried. The man was incredibly lucky that Carson and his friends stopped when they did. It almost felt like something caused them to pause at exactly the right moment to save him. This case shows how quickly outdoor situations can shift into something dangerous without warning. The threat is not always obvious at first, and small moments like stopping or paying attention can make the difference between safety and disaster. If they had not stopped, right there would anyone have found him in time. The disturbing camping encounter of the night comes from Travel Light Adventures, a US-based travel and adventure channel featuring immersive van life, off-grid camping, and road trips through scenic locations. It is March 17th, 2026 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, United States, across the southwestern US. After settling in at the campsite, the setting appears peaceful and quiet. However, events during the night would make him reconsider ever staying there again.
Across the southwestern US, and I'm waking up here at my campsite. I just can't get over how beautiful it is. There were some things that happened last night from ever staying here again. Was that it's an unofficial gun range of sorts, but people said the firing usually happens way out there and around the corner. And when I got here, that's exactly what was going on. So I thought. After winding down for the night, I crawled into my tent, and then that's when things begun. At about 2:30 in the morning,
Before arriving, he had read that the area functioned as an unofficial gun range, but reports suggested the shooting usually happened farther away and out of sight. When he arrived, that seemed to be the case with no gunfire nearby, and everything feeling normal, at least at first. After getting ready for the night, he went into his tent, and that's when everything began. In the early hours of the morning, the situation shifts instantly. Around 2 a.m., multiple gunshots are fired into the ground just feet from his tent. Shortly after, a vehicle speeds past the campsite. The sudden noise and close proximity wake him immediately.
but about 20 minutes later, they came back and did the same exact thing. So I honked the horn on my car with my key fob, and they got out of here real fast. On the outside chance that the collective goal of those people was to tell me that I'm not welcome to camp here, congratulations. I will never, ever camp in this spot again. We're ready to roll. God, it is a shame that the experience here was so terrible, because this is just beautiful. Minus the power lines. It's just gorgeous.
By morning, everything is packed up and ready to go. After leaving, he relocates to a safer area and continues his trip later exploring Santa Fe and nearby attractions. While free camping offers freedom and beautiful views, it also comes with unpredictable risks that demand constant awareness. Sometimes nothing is confirmed, but the situation still feels wrong, and if those vehicles had stayed longer, would the outcome have been the same?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.